it was hard, and it still is hard for me to try to carry on, to try to go on with my life. But I can't, because I think about him every day. Not a single day go by that I don't visualize how they did him. They planned to come kill him.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are here today for the anniversary of the death of a young man named Winston Smith, who was killed this very day last year. We are standing here today with his family, who has asked for answers over and over and over again this past year. I stand here as an impacted family that lost a loved one at the hands of law enforcement. I work a lot to provide support for the families that have lost loved ones. And it has been a long year standing alongside this family as they seek answers the same way that my family has sought answers here in the state of Minnesota after losing a loved one at the hands of law enforcement. We were told that Winston Smith pointed a gun at law enforcement officers, but we never got footage or anything, and it's hard to believe that over in one of the most prestige areas in the Twin Cities, the Uptown area, that there was no cameras. In addition to that, there was numerous law enforcement agencies that showed up that day, and we just failed to believe that there was no cameras that were there on anybody, no body cameras, no police car footages, no dash cam footages, or anything. Also, there was a young lady that was in the car with Winston Smith that day, and she stated that she never seen Winston Smith pull a gun or anything on law enforcement, that he was in fact raising up his phone to go Facebook Live after all of the cars kind of bum rushed him and huddled him in on that rooftop. So it is sad that we have to continuously have these meetings. It is not about being against law enforcement or being anti-law enforcement. It is about right is right and wrong is wrong. And it is about the fact that this family deserves answers, as my family deserves answers, and the rest of the families that are out here seeking justice deserve answers. So that's what we are asking for today. Again, my name is Tashira Garraway, founder of Family Supporting Families Against Police Violence. I stand in solidarity with Winston Smith family, and we will hear from his family today. We will first hear from his mother, who has been grieving this past year. We have his father here. We have his brothers and sisters, and even his children and the mothers of his children here today. So we will hear from them. We will call up the first speaker, which is his mother. Her name is Tawana, the mother of Winston Smith. Thank you.
We are you back.
Okay, sister.
Take your time, take your time.
I thank everyone for putting this together for the year of my son, Winston Smith. And like she was saying, what I don't understand, why was the law enforcement within, they had to come out and kill them the way they did. And kill him the way that they did. They don't know how much it killed us too, as we are living every day of his death, of being gone. been taken out of here the way that they did. It was hard, and it still is hard for me to try to carry on, to try to go on with my life. But I can't, because I think about him every day. Not a single day go by that I don't visualize how they did him. They planned to come kill him. If they was coming to arrest him, they had time to arrest him when he was in the restaurant. Neither one said anything. They never said, "Are you Winston Smith?" "Are you Winston Smith?" And then once they followed him from the restaurant to the parking lot, waited until he got into the car and cased him in. Not only that, when they shot him the first 2 times from the back of the head, and the girl said he slanted towards the dashboard. When that happened, why did you still continue to shoot him many times as they did? He was already gone. And yes, I would like some answer, some leeway, something in my life. It's people, I don't think, would understand. They would never understand. That's it.
We will hear from Winston Smith's sister, Tamara.
I would just like to say on behalf of the words that my mom can't say is that it's been hard. And it's been hard on her, it's been hard on his children, it's been hard on their mothers. We're just living life with no answers and broken hearts. And they don't know how much you break up a family when you take somebody violently like that. We've been struggling this whole year with ourselves, with our daily lives, with our children, because we have no answers. My mom can barely live her life because she lost her son, and they just threw their hands up and walked away. And I wouldn't wish this on anybody, this pain, the constant grief. You wake up one day, you're fine, and then the next minute you just get to crying because you are so heartbroken. It just doesn't make any sense. We need answers now, sooner than later. It's already been a year. We have not heard anything. It's still people that have not even heard his story because it wasn't publicized, it wasn't videotaped. It's still people that has no idea that what happened that day in Uptown. And I feel like we still need to continue to get the story out there. And at this point, we deserve answers of why they did what they did and what was their motive. Because not only is it hard on us, it is hard on everybody who is around us, because we are just not the same as a family. We're not the same as individuals. And it's just hard. And they don't have to live with this pain.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about their kids. They get to live day to day, every day, with not a worry, and we're over here broken and torn apart. That's not okay. So I hope that we get the answers. I demand that we get the answers that we need and the justice that we deserve for my brother, because this is something that should have never happened. We should not be here today. Nobody who had their life taken away from a higher power should be here today or anywhere in their situation. It's just not okay.
Does anyone else from Winston Smith family want to say anything? Are you with his family? Are you the family? Are you a part of his family?
In a sense, it's music family.
Okay. So we'll have a friend of Winston Smith say a few words.
I spent some time with Winston before he passed. He was a wonderful artist, well on his way, very talented young man. And his day of celebration, I just hope everybody can celebrate the fact that the goodness that he was. You know, he definitely was a wonderful person. Smiled and laughed that lit up the room. You know, he took command over the room when he walked in. So I'd just like to say that. And, appreciate the family around me.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we do have a few people from the community who came out to stand in solidarity with Winston Smith family. We do have the significant other of George Floyd, Courtney Ross, that just came here today. One thing that the families are doing here in the state of Minnesota, we are sticking together and fighting together in solidarity and standing up for one another. So when this happens to someone else in the community, we want people to know that we will come and surround that family to stand up for justice. So we will now have the significant other of George Floyd, Courtney Ross. Thank you. I want to say we also have another person that has shown up that really, we have a few people here that have shown up for Winston today that were really out there last year when Winston got killed. The community was really brutalized bad when Winston was killed. We have someone by the name of Diana Marie that was murdered, and we cannot have this press conference today without mentioning Diana Marie for the simple fact someone decided to run their vehicle through a peaceful protest that was happening on behalf of Winston Smith this time last year. So please do remember Diana Marie. When you stand up for justice, when you stand up for what's right, our lives are on the line. We get brutalized, we get death threats, we get all type of things that happen to us in this movement just for standing up for human life and just for standing up for what's right. It's not right that this is allowed to happen. And we haven't heard of many charges even being brought against this man that committed this act against our movement. We have a right to peacefully assemble. We have a right to be out there, and we had a right to stand up for Winston Smith that day without being targeted and without someone being murdered with a vehicle that was peacefully assembling out there this time last year. So again, we will now have the significant other of George Floyd that came here to stand in solidarity with Winston Smith family, Courtney Ross. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, media, for being here, and thank you, everyone, for supporting this family. When Winston was murdered last year, our community had suffered so much trauma already. My man Floyd was killed right after that. Dante Wright was murdered by the police. And I remember sitting at home exhausted, watching the fighters out there speaking Winston's name. I didn't have the strength to be there for the family and I will be there now. I'll use my notoriety to bring Winston Smith's name to the nation. I want everyone to remember Winston Smith. Say his name over and over and over again tonight. Pray for his family tonight. According to the case, I just always remember, I watch Judge Judy a lot. I love court shows. And she always says, if it doesn't make sense, it's a lie. In this case, that makes no sense at all.
Big facts.
The cover-ups that I can imagine that will come out have made this family suffer. It is time. Someone knows something. I'm speaking to whoever is listening that knows something about this case. Come out, shed yourself of guilt. Tell the truth to this family that deserves answers. Again, before you go to bed tonight, pray for this family. Remember Winston Smith. Remember Deanna Marie, who was fighting with some of the people back here when Winston died. And she lost her life also for this fight. I believe that these men, Floyd, Dante, Winston, they're prophets. They will guide us in the future. They sacrificed for us. They sacrificed their lives for us. So remember them. Thank you.
Say his name.
Winston Smith. Say his name.
Winston Smith.
Say his name.
Winston Smith.
Scream his name.
Winston Smith.
Justice for.
Winston Smith.
Justice for.
Winston Smith.
Justice for.
Winston Smith.
Justice for.
Winston Smith.
Thank you. So we will now have someone who fought tirelessly in the community when Winston Smith was killed last year at this time. We will call up my brother John McCollin to say a few words on behalf of Winston Smith. We also had Lavish that was here because I remember Lavish did do an event on behalf of Winston Smith as well last year. I think we'll have John and then we will close out for speakers. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jonathan McClellan, President of the Minnesota Justice Coalition. We are part of a collaborative of organizations that work with families and community to draft and advance legislation and other policy initiatives at the Capitol in St. Paul and in Washington, D.C. Here we are 1 year after Winston was brutally murdered by the police department. And what have we learned since then? And I would like to point to the Human Rights Report that came out of the Human Rights Department for the state of Minnesota and how they highlighted that a few things. And one of those things were that the police department uses force, more brutal force against persons of color, especially when the color is known. And Winston Smith, it was not immune to that brutal force the day that he was killed. And right now, while we're in the process of still conducting the investigation, we're still waiting on the transparency component to come from the local law enforcement agencies as well as the federal law enforcement agencies. One of the things that I want to point to, that this was a task force that was used here in the state of Minnesota that have historically trained cowboy cops to brutalize our communities. The same kind of policing that was seen with the murder of Amir Locke. So it's incumbent upon us to demand transparency, accountability, so that the families can ultimately get justice, and we're going to continue to do our part to ensure that these families get justice.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
So I'm going to have one more speaker, Philip Holmes, and he is a part of IWOC. We believe that it is a system that works together to do all of this, whether people are being killed on the street, whether they are losing their lives in the jails, whether they're being overly incarcerated. We believe that it's all one system that's doing this and designed to keep a certain group of people under oppression. So we will hear from a brother named Philip Holmes from IWOC, which is for the overly incarcerated. My brother Philip Holmes. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Philip Holmes with IWOC, Incarcerate Minnesota. And I'd like to reiterate what these sisters have said and what these brothers have said. We are dealing with a system that is systematically designed to tear all of us up. I want to emphasize that none of us can be free until we're all free. Because we have a people that, for some reason, we can't understand the depths of this type of hatred. But the Holy Word says everything done in darkness shall and will come to the light. And we have to understand that we are somehow accomplices in our oppression. Every time we hire a thug like Derek Chauvin and all the rest of these murderers that have gunned down innocent people, we contribute to it with our tax dollars. We're going to have to stop paying these folks to do this stuff to us. This is ridiculous. And I'm sick and tired of coming up here. We do this, seems like every day. And it's intolerable. I don't believe in one-sided relationships. If you hurt me, and I'm a Christian, I think I want to hurt you back. At least I want you to feel some of what I'm feeling. We shouldn't be bearing the burden of hurt, just us. And until we reciprocate and have other people feel the same way we feel that have inflicted this on us, it'll continue to happen. I was naive enough to think that some of this stuff was going to stop after George Floyd. It's actually increased. Here's the thing. People are going to do this stuff because this is the nature of man. But there's a peculiar way that people have oppressed us. And we've allowed that oppression to happen. We have to put a little bit of the blame on ourselves. Because they're going to continue to do it. This might happen anytime, any day, with no repercussions. That is the problem. Nobody, and these people over in the so-called Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is a bunch of thugs. They write all this stuff off. They have never really seriously pursued anything on the side of law enforcement. There's always this delay. It don't take no year to figure out what happened. I mean, when they arrest us right away. How's it going to take you a year to reveal body cam footage and ain't nobody said nothing, ain't nobody did nothing, didn't nobody see nothing? That's ridiculous. And we're going to have to do whatever it takes to figure out how to get these folks' knees off our necks. That's it.
Thank you. Any other family want to say anything? So with that, I will say that, again, my family stands in solidarity with Winston Smith's family. Amen. We know that we have over 470 murders at the hands of law enforcement since the year 2000, almost 500 bodies at the hands of law enforcement. Miraculously, for whatever reason, when black bodies are involved, the footages come up missing or they never even existed in the first place. The accidents seem to happen when people are sleeping on the couch, but it seems to only happen when black lives are involved. It is strange to me that Winston Smith, the person that was sitting right next to him, never seen him with a gun. We have to call this out for what it is. We have to be truthful. We have to be honest and transparent and say that this is racially motivated murders at the hands of law enforcement here in the state of Minnesota. We are not saying that all officers are bad, but for the ones that have committed these corruption acts, they need to be held accountable. We cannot continue to allow this. Just as we want the people off the street that are committing murders, that are shooting violently and shooting kids, we want the same thing for law enforcement. So we're not saying that we hate law enforcement or we're anti-law enforcement, but we want to say if you do wrong to any human being, they should be held accountable. If you hurt anybody, say I'm wrong and I'm sorry and understand that you must be held accountable for your behavior. Okay. There is no way that these families have to, this mother was choking up and could barely talk right now because of what they've done to her son. It's not right. It's not right. It's not right. And why do the state of Minnesota continue over and over and over again, continue to allow this to happen? We just got through a legislative session where they would pass no police accountability bills. We have people that are in the Senate that are refusing to meet with the community, refusing to meet with the impacted families. This is what's going on. You guys have to stay updated on what's going on and what's happening. They're not passing the laws that would release the body cam footage between 24 to 48 hours. We have a bill written up for that right now. We have a bill for the statute of limitation for wrongful death that right now they only have a 3-year time limit. It would expand that, even though we shouldn't have a time limit at all, because if you murder someone unjustly, the family should be able to bring forth a case at any point. So we are tired. We're burnt out. Our backs is up against the wall, and we are facing the same fate that we were facing when George Floyd got killed, because nothing has changed. If you think about it, no laws have really changed. Nothing has really changed since George Floyd was killed. Nothing meaningful that can stop this. We got people that are sitting in those seats that don't live in our community making decisions for our community. Go look up the Minnesota State Senate. Everybody that you see, those are the people that are part of the problem. Those are the people that will not help our families, will not talk to our families, or hear from our families on the bills that we want passed to see that this never happens again, like Winston Smith and all the rest of the people that are out here. So this is what we're going through. We did have a few more speakers that showed up. If the speakers that showed up could keep it really, really brief, because we've been speaking for a while and we're about to close out. We will have just please, really, really brief from Keydale Smith, the brother of Winston Smith. Thank you.
Hey, first off, I want to apologize for being late to this, y'all. I've been running around, a lot been going on. But I won't make this about myself. Today is a day about my brother who was killed last year, 365 days ago. Shout out to my parents actually being able to make it out here. This takes a lot of strength to do, y'all. This ain't an easy job, you know what I'm saying? And it shouldn't have to be this way. We shouldn't have to go through all this because people the police don't have to be held accountable for the actions that they commit. You know, how do you kill a man on accident? And yes, I'm speaking about Amir Locke. Kill a man on accident, but then you have an opportunity to go find ways to justify the things that you do. And this goes the same with my brother Winston. You kill this man who's been asking for help on social media. He's been saying he's going through, he's calling for help. You know who he is because you stated that you was watching, you was following him. But then you go back and the only alternative that you come up with is that you put this man boxed in a car like an animal, try to get him to react so you can justify your actions on killing him, and then tie that in with the badge that you have to be a certified killer. No, this is ridiculous. They need to be held accountable, and if you don't want to come, and then on top of that, you have the luxury of taking time off, taking a few days. You don't have to be questioned. You don't have to go in to explain why you did what you did, why you felt that it was right the day of, but you want to question the witness on the first day and say, oh, well, you know what? The witness said this and the witness said that. How come she didn't get the time to sit back and recollect her thoughts before she had to say what she had to say? So then the news can now use that to their to their advantage. The police can use that to their advantage. So my thing is, look, if it happens for the civilians, bro, the police need to be held accountable. We need to be questioning the police that day of. There don't need to be no wait. No, we need to ask you, what was you doing at this time, in this position, when you decided to shoot this man? What was he doing? Where was you standing? How many people shot? So we can get these contradicting stories, and that'll help our case, and we'll get the real story right then and there. My bad, y'all, boy. rest in peace to Winston. And this is far from done, man. We still on this case. You know, my lawyer, he been working hard at this case. We getting information, y'all. Stay with it. Keep the fight up, man. Look, I love y'all, all y'all, for real. I love you, John. You know what I'm saying? And I love y'all too, man. Everybody ever y'all here doing this thing. I ain't crying, y'all know that, but man, it's real out here, man. But this ain't over, man. We gon' look. Keep this fight up, bro. We need to get them officers out, and they need to be held accountable, and they need to take responsibility for what they did, and they need to be fired. That's it. Fired and go to jail, bro. And I'm not stopping them unless that's the case. That's it. That's all I have to say, y'all. Love y'all. Peace.
We will now have a few words from our brother Trayhorn Cruz with Black Lives Matter Minnesota.
After hearing that, I really don't have too much to say. When we talk about police murder and we talk about police cover-ups, we talk about what's happening in Texas right now.
Listen.
When the police stories continue to change every second, every day, tells us why, shows us what usually happens in situations when the police kill black men. Except it's usually okay for them to lie about killing a person like Justin Teigen, or a Winston Smith, or a Marcus Golden, or a Amir Locke, or Delae, or Jamar Clark. But what's happening in Texas should let us know that the police always lie when they kill somebody. Or they were quick, and they're quick to kill unarmed people. But they're not quick to go in and kill a white supremacist when he's killing children and they can hear the shots. When they're calling the police, when kids are calling the police, but the police are scared to go in. But when you know black men are unarmed, you'll trap them and murder them because you're a murderer and a coward. That's what we're talking about. And you're seeing it play out right now with what's happening in Texas to let you know all these families here deserve justice, because that's what happens all the time, except right now it's just flipped. So if you see what's happening in Texas, compare that to what's happening to these families, and you'll know that the police always lie.
Listen.
They lied about Jamar Clark.
Yes.
They lied about Marcus Gold. Even for with George Floyd, they lied. They didn't want to prosecute, but we made them prosecute. The community made them press charges. The community stood up and demanded justice and went to the police station and went to Target and went to 38th and 5th. And then after all that, they said, oh yes, we should press charges. This was wrong. But when the Chief Arredondo, not Chief Arredondo in Texas, Chief Arredondo in Minneapolis.
Listen.
When Chief Arredondo of Minneapolis, the former retired police department, when he first seen what happened to George Floyd, he thought that was okay because he's been trained to do that. But when the police station burned down, they said, oh, this was a tragedy. And then they made an arrest. So I don't have really much to say. I just want to compare let us know what's happening in Texas and how they're lying and being exposed every day is nothing new to us. The Minneapolis, the report from the human rights, Minnesota Human Rights, we live this every day. It's nothing new to us. So I don't have nothing else to say. I just want to, man, I love you, bro. I know what it's like losing a brother. I've lost two, but not to, in a way where nobody could be held accountable for it, man. So we here for you, man. And I'm just glad all of us are here standing up and supporting this brother. Let's continue to hold him up and continue to hold police in the state of Minnesota accountable. I love y'all. Black Lives Matter. Black lives, no justice, no racist, no justice, no racist, peace.
Say his name. Winston Smith. Say his name. Winston Smith. Say his name. Winston Smith. Scream 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 his name. Winston Smith. Say his name. Winston Smith. We have a duty to fight for our freedom. We have a duty to fight for our freedom. We have a duty to win. We have a duty to win. We must love and support one another. We must love and support one another. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We have a duty to fight for our freedom. We have a duty to fight for our freedom. We have a duty to win. We have a duty to win. We must love and support one another. We must love and support one another. We have nothing to lose but our chains. 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 All power to the people. All power to the people. Thank you, everybody. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you all for being here for Winston Smith family. Let's enjoy some food. We have Winston Smith's daughter that is DJing today for us. So she'll be doing the music. And we have his little son over here and his mom, his brothers and sisters. So please enjoy food and have a good time for Winston today. Thank you. Thank you all.
We have WCCO who also put out a horrible article. We have Fox who probably also put out a horrible article, but it's Star Tribune specifically in here. Because part of what Keydale said about his brother being boxed in like an animal, that narrative was only furthered by horrible media. And I just wanted to address that while I'm staring at y'all, and y'all are documenting this black family's pain time after time, but simultaneously putting out these trash-ass agendas. I'm gonna be done real quick, but police say that they fear for their life, so they kill black people. Police say that they fear for their life, so they don't go into the school. Every time that legislature tries to pass, they don't pass it until they kill a black person. They tried to do the no knee on the neck. That was trying to pass. It didn't pass until they killed George Floyd. They were trying to stop traffic stops because of COVID. They didn't really implement that until they killed Daunte Wright. They were trying to put body cameras on federal task forces. But the blood is on the legislature again because they didn't implement that until they killed Winston Smith. They were trying to end no-knock warrants, 19 of which, done by Mayor Fry, were all to black people. They didn't put that through until they killed Amir Locke. So there will be another one, and you news agencies, will y'all continue to press on with this horrible agenda as Star Tribune and so many others continuously do? Or will you have some equitable documentation like Nico, like King Demetrius, and like Georgia Ford? But even just me talking, like I didn't lose a loved one to police, but we surrounded by all these people that lost loved ones to police. And it's so triggering for me, and y'all just documenting them. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man.
Thank you,
All right, brother. It's all right, man.
Thank you. So that's what we're asking, is that the media that does come out, do the right thing for the families. I know you guys have heard this before, but we have to reiterate that. Yep. You know what? I actually did forget to do that. Do any of you guys have any questions for Winston Smith family before we actually end this portion of the event? Got any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I would just like to ask, did Jacob Fry reach out to anybody in the family regarding the death of your brother, perhaps?
No, nobody.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't just me. Yeah, no. Nobody. Not Chief Erdonald, who was chief of police in Minneapolis at the time. Not any chief of police of St. Paul reached out to us. The mayor didn't reach out to us. The one responsible, Mona Doman at the time, she definitely didn't reach out to us. She ran like a coward. I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's something to think about. It's a lot of cowardism and scapegoats and the system, what they're doing.
What would you say to him?
What would I say to him? Man up, get a new job. Man up or get a new job. Or woman up or get a new job. Get the hell out. Look, give me that seat. I'll take over. I'll do it great. You know what I'm saying? I'll give the police some real training. How we train? Where I'm from, I'll give them some real training. All right?
And one more other question, just that I'm just thinking in my head doing research. We know your brother Winston Smith had also said something about the Law E, and it's very concerning to me the way he was killed.
I'm sorry, can you repeat? You say my brother said something about the light?
The Law E got killed on 34th and Cedar, and I'm not sure if he witnessed some of that or he was talking about something.
He drove past it.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden he get killed, kind of like in the same similar way.
Yeah, he made that statement. I think it's on his Instagram video. He's riding past. He said, "Man, I don't want this to happen to me." He was like, "I've been thinking a lot about my life and the things that's been going on," and he makes a statement saying he used to think that, if I go out, that's how I want to go out. He drives past and he sees Jalal E getting shot in his car on 36th and Cedar, I believe it was. And he says while he's live on that Instagram video, he was like, "See," he was like, "That's what I'm talking about right there. That's not the way I want to go out. And if anybody else is thinking that way, I want to change your mind right now." He continues his comedy and he furthers that statement and says, "Look, you need to think a different way because you can better yourself." That was the message Winston had. Contrary to what's being put out in the news, he just wanted people to better themselves.
And also, one more quick one. I know your brother have been doing music and things of that nature, and I heard some of his music is very awesome. How could people in the community, what have they be able to assist and also help with his kids or whatever? Is there a GoFundMe or anything like that?
We currently have 2 GoFundMes, one for his daughter, Aviana, and I got one up, that I've been using for the family. Most of it's been going on because I've been out here. But we all agreed on that. So, you can, if you want to donate to, because I pretty much control the GoFundMe for the rest of the family. And the ones for his children's, I would say, is Aviana's. If you specifically want to donate to his kids, just get we can get that out to y'all if y'all need it. I got one on my website. Is her GoFundMe on yours, on the Instagram? I'm gonna post both of them on my Instagram. Okay.
What's your Instagram?
U.S. Marshals. Well, I'm sorry.
Whoa.
I need to update the name. I don't like it, but it's you know what? After today, it's gonna be something different. So I don't know. I can't give it to you. I can't. Just follow. Who is Tashira Lavish? To go on their Instagram and they'll have it. They'll have it tonight.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you all.
Speaking of y'all, can y'all come up front? You and Lavish, man, bro. Big shout out, bro. Like these 2 have been like soldiers on the front lines like this. If y'all ever remember anybody in history, remember the names Lavish Mack and Tashira Garraway, a.k.a. Moses' daughter. For real. I mean that because, whether they know the way or not, they get out here and do it, and that's what's important. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people make excuses why they can't do something. These 2 like Nike, they just do it. You know what I'm saying? All right, love y'all.
Thank you. Again, give yourself a round of applause. Now get some food. Again, Winston Smith's daughter is going to DJ for us today.